Okay, I am so excited about tonight. This is something that I've wanted to have happen for a very, very long time. And tonight we're just going to start. I'll do announcements at the end because Bob has been so generous. He's East Coast time. So I want to really respect his time. But he is going to share with us tonight about the comp plan. But let me introduce him. Bob is married to April Wagner. They grew up on Long Island. I love those accents. They're like my favorite accents ever.
So good.
They currently live in Orlando, Florida, met in 8th grade and dated after high school and have been married 40 years. They have 3 boys, 25, 30, and 34. So cool. They love traveling, love animals, bike riding. So do we. Jeep on the beach, tennis, and baseball. Their Jeep gave me the idea for our Jeep, the logo we wanted. So got to throw that in there. They joined their first network marketing company in 1992 and stayed 25 years until it closed in October 2017. They've earned millions during those 25 years with their first company, and they joined LifeVantage a little more than 3 years ago. They are Elite Pro 8s now, and their goal is to be Pro 10s. So my goal, you guys, I've said this a couple times, is to, I know a lot of us have been around quite some time. I just want to continue to build our belief and remind everyone of what we have our hands on here and how special it is. And I know more than anyone, Bob understands that, having been with another company for 25 years. So when I saw him teach the comp plan, I was like, what in the world? Like, I'd never seen it taught that way before because it was so simple and it makes so much sense. And when I think about where LifeVantage is going and how we want to portray this company to other people, it is important that we know the comp plan, but more importantly, it's important that we know how to say it in a simple way that they understand. And Bob does that. So I wanted him to come on here and show how simple it can be, how you can do it, and why it matters to know the comp plan. So Bob, thank you so, so much for being here. I just made you a co-host so you can share your screen.
Great. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad we could help out. I'm going to go to my screen in a second, but what I'd like everyone to keep in mind is, believe it or not, and I'll say this again when I finish, you already know how to do this. You just don't know it. And when I point out a few things in our pay system, in our compensation plan, you're going to say, oh yeah, aha, it's just going to click. It's just going to make sense for you. So let me go to my screen. Are we good, Tanya? I think we are.
We're good.
Okay. So let me start with this. When we say compensation plan, and honestly, I don't even like to use that term, compensation plan. It's like, if you have a job or you own a business, you own a Starbucks, do you say, let me tell you about my compensation plan? We don't talk that way. So, when it comes to earning money in LifeVantage, we got to be very, very careful, okay, to never use our industry trade language, okay, language that is very specific to our profession. You should never do that. And I'll tell you, I learned a very valuable lesson when we decided to start doing business with doctors. It was about 25 years ago. The way that we broke into that market is by learning their trade language so that people knew that we knew what we were talking about. So the reason I say this is that nobody is expected, including me and you, nobody's expected to know our trade language until you're a veteran in the business. Okay, and then you should only speak it with other professionals that are in the business. So when we use terms like Smart Start bonus or launch bonus, even the word residuals or royalties, The average person doesn't even know what that means unless maybe they're in insurance or matching check bonus or generational match. You know the terms, sometimes it could be downline, upline, my sponsor. See, these are terms that is trade language in our industry. So what it needs to be more about, and nobody buys anything from anybody if they don't like them. And nobody's going to like anybody if the person they're talking to is using language that they don't understand. Okay, it just doesn't work. Okay, they're not going to do it. So here's what it's about. Okay, it's about how much do we earn when we personally do some business. Okay, that means we personally enroll a customer, we personally enroll a distributor. And then how much do we earn when somebody on our team, okay, does business? Okay, that's the next one. Okay, so you need to be accustomed to what you earn when you do something and what you earn when someone on your team does something. Okay, and then you need to get accustomed to something else. And this is extremely important in this business. It's contagious, it's infectious, it's something that is so important. You need to get yourself on a winning streak. Okay, so right now, are you on a winning streak or are you on a losing streak? And what I mean by that is, are you getting a weekly paycheck? Now, I'm not saying a daily paycheck, because in this business, we can get paid daily. If you're Pro 3 and above, and there's business going on with you personally and with your team, you can get a check every day. But I'm talking weekly. Okay, so do you get a weekly paycheck, and are you in the bonus pool? Okay, see, if you're getting a weekly paycheck, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be in the bonus pool. And what I want to share with you tonight are some things that can help make this happen, because we got to change our language so we're more relatable and people can relate to us. We sound more normal. We don't sound like we got into something crazy. The one thing about this business is we all get in because we have a need or a want. There's something in our life that we're looking to change, enhance, do something about. And all of a sudden we start using funky language. Okay, it doesn't work. And people, they think we're weird. Okay, is what happens. They just think we're weird. So if you ever seen this is our compensation plan. Look close at it. I really want you to look close at it. Imagine this is your first day, and this is what you're looking at on how you earn money in business. Could you imagine if your boss gave you that from your job? I mean, what in the world would you do with that? See, this is great, okay? But for a new person, okay, this is just totally overwhelming. They don't understand what they're looking at. They don't understand the terms. See, you and I, our responsibility, okay, is to keep it simple. We need to get people, and I was talking to Tanya about this just before we got started. You got to get people able to see it, okay? If they can't see it, they're not going to do it. And when you look at something like this pay sheet, now I'll tell you, do I understand this? Sure. I could probably write it, okay? I get it. I know what this is, but I'm kind of gifted with numbers, and it's not because I went to college or anything. I didn't. I have a high school education, but numbers always worked in my head. Okay, they just did things for me, and I understand it. But when you look at this sheet, I mean, it's mesmerizing. People go nuts when they see this. They don't understand what it is. So we have to always keep it simple. Okay, April says something a lot. She says, we need to speak to people with the most respect and just really respectful in the way we say something to them. But at the same time, we got to be explaining it like they're in kindergarten, but with respect. See, when we're talking money in this business and we're talking about our compensation plan or pay plan, the way we earn money, it's so important to keep that in mind. Okay, so here's what it comes down to. Tell me what I get when I do something. So if I'm your prospect and you've identified, or for that matter, I've identified a need or a want in my life, it's going to be very important that you show me how I can do something about that. And showing me that compensation sheet is not going to do it. Okay. Tell me what I get when I help someone on my team do something. Tell me what I get when I do something. See, we always say we need to have goals and we need to have a business plan. And that's true. But how are you going to have goals or a business plan unless you understand the earnings that go with it? See, I always, look at it this way. I'm going to earn X amount of dollars based on what I'm going to do. And I'm going to earn X amount of dollars based on what I'm going to help my team do. And when I add those two things together, okay, that's how I set my goals. And that's how you put a business plan together. First comes you. You have to take personal responsibility for doing business. That means you need to be in the bonus pool, okay, every month. I'm proud to say we're 6 months in a row, okay, in the bonus pool. We feel you got to lead by example. It's very important in this business. And we've been in double dip 2 or 3 times, okay, in the pool. So that's moving forward. As I begin to really simplify this for you, those are some goals that I'm setting for you. Okay. If you're getting a check every week, it's going to be because you're doing business every week. That means you're enrolling a customer or a distributor every week. And that's going to put you in a position to be in the bonus pool. Okay. And that's where it all begins with this company. Now, let me go through some stuff here that is just for you and me. Okay. See, these things should never be talked to with new people. Okay. And I've listed Pro 3, Pro 5, Pro 6, Pro 7, but I'm just giving you an example because different parts of our compensation plan, and there's 8 different components, there's 8 different ways that we get paid. Different parts kick in at different ranks. So like the launch bonus, that's either $12, $25, or $50, depending if it's a silver pack, a gold pack, or a platinum. Okay, that's distributor talk. Okay, that's not to be mentioned to a person that's not in the business. Our matching check bonus or generational match bonus, that's 10% on our first level and 5% on the next 4 levels. That doesn't get discussed. That's for you and me as distributors to understand. When we talk Pro 5, hey, that's really the first leadership rank in the business, and we get to go to the Pro 5 Summit. If you want to mention we get a free trip to Utah, to have some fun and learn more about building the business, fine. But don't call it a Pro 5 Summit. Just say we get an all expense paid trip to Park City, Utah, so we can learn more about growing our business faster. Use terms that people understand. A Pro 6. Well, that's, we get to start counting volume for our Jeep. Well, I wouldn't say counting volume for our Jeep. What I would say is, that's when I can begin, qualifying for a brand new Jeep, or that's when I can begin, my plan to get my new Jeep that, by the way, they pay for. They give me the title to it. It's not a payment for a Jeep. You can throw that stuff in there, but you got to keep it simple. And then the elite ranks. Okay. Pro 7, Pro 8, Pro 9, Pro 10. Okay, there's an elite bonus pool. It's big money. Excuse me. It's a 1% pool for each rank, and it's 1% of global sales. It's a big pool. For Pro 7s, it's $1,400 a month. For Pro 8s, $4,000 or $5,000 a month. For Pro 9s, it's $9,000 a month. For Pro 10s, it's $22,000 a month. They don't need to know any of that, okay? If you want to let them know that there's a lot of different ways we get paid, you can say that there's 8 different ways they pay us, but don't get specific and don't use industry language when we're doing it. Okay. So let's break this down to what we should be doing. Okay. To help everyone understand what we're in, I wrote down a few things. Okay. We need to see and visualize. We need to talk. with normal words and normal examples that anybody and everybody will understand. So I'm going to ask you, if you're going to get your hair done, and I know there's a lot of women on this call. See, I have $60 in there because my little bit of hair only cost me $60, okay, to get done. I think April's more in the 150 range. I know one of her friends pays 400, okay? Now, let me ask you something. Would you go to a hairdresser or a stylist without knowing what it cost? Would you do that? Okay, would you call a plumber into your house to fix a leaky faucet without knowing what it cost? Would you bring an electrician in? Okay, so you know, okay, the plumber's $100, you know that, okay? The electrician's $150. It doesn't matter what it is, but you wouldn't do it without knowing what it is. If you were gonna hire someone to clean your pool, okay, so it's $50, the long guy's 75, your nail person is 50. You're getting a massage for an hour, it's 90. You're going to get a facial, it's 200. You're filling up your car with gas, it's $60. Here's the point. You got to talk in dollars. You got to give an example of what happens when something happens in dollars, not in percentages, okay? So it's very important. The next page I go to, I'm going to use these examples with our products instead of the hairdresser, instead of the landscaper, instead of the plumber, the pool guy, the lawn guy, the nail person, okay? But it works the same way. See, what I have up here, you wouldn't think twice of any of this, and you know this in your mind, you know what it cost, you know what it, not only do you know what it costs, but you evaluate if it's worth it to do it. Okay, if it's worth the 150 for the electrician, if it's worth the 400 for the hair, if it's worth the 200 for the facial. See, when you know what it costs and you know what you get, okay, whether you're charging this because you are someone or you're paying this because you need and want what they have, you know what the number is. So we have to do this in our business, okay? It's very, very important that we do this. So here's what you need to do. And I know this is being recorded and you'll have it to look at, but you may want to take a picture of this with your phone. Okay. I got all products listed here. Now, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but you know what? It doesn't matter if we're a distributor in the business or if we're a Pro 1, a Pro 5, or a Pro 10. Do you know we all get paid the same thing? When we buy the product, we all pay the same price. And when we bring in a new customer, we all get paid the same thing. Okay. So yeah, there's a launch bonus that kicks in, and I'll go over that in a second, but basically it's the same thing. You need to know, just like you would know what school lunch cost if your kid was going and buying lunch in school, you need to know that when you enroll somebody on a Tri-Synergizer, okay, that it's $127, it's 100 points, but here's what you need to know, okay? You make $40. You make $40, I make $40, Tanya makes $40, we all make $40, okay, when somebody enrolls on Tri-Synergizer. We need to know we make $50 on a Vitality Stack. We need to know we make $36 on a hair kit, you know, $52 on a skincare package, $40 on a weight loss package, $20 on Axio, okay, $32 on a duo pack, $16 on the pet product. We got to know that, okay? The same way we know what our coffee costs at Starbucks, the same way we know when we bring someone into the house or we do a service. And it needs to be second nature. It needs to come natural. And here's what happens. When it's second nature, okay, and it's natural, you're more relatable. The person feels you're relating to their problem, their issue, what they're looking for, or you know, whatever it is that's going on in their life, when you can say, hey, you know what? What's that car going to run you? A new one? Oh, about $250. Do you know that just 5 people on Vitality Stack, you alone could make $250 at $50 a pop? It gives you the ability to match what needs to be done with earnings with the problem or the goal that the other person has. Okay. And the same thing happens when we bring distributors in the business, whether we're bringing them in, on a silver pack, on a gold pack, on a platinum pack. Hey, we all get paid exactly the same thing, plus or minus the launch bonus. That's the only thing that, that can move a little bit. We're all getting at least $100 when we sponsor a silver pack. We're all getting at least $200 when we sponsor a gold package, and we're getting at least $400 when we sponsor a platinum package. Okay, now if we're Pro 3 or higher, and I know a lot of people on here are, well, then you're getting an extra $12, $25, or $50 added on to that, called our launch bonus. I don't know. I wanted the chart to be accurate, so I put it down, but I think just understanding what $100, $200, and $400, I think that's enough. But more important, you need to know what you earn, but you need to be able to show that to a person. If a person's talking about having the money to do something that runs $500, or having the money to do something that, that runs $700 or $1,000, you got to be able to show them, say, hey, that's just a platinum and a gold pack. That's just getting 6 people on Tri-Synergizer. That's how you relate to people. Okay. That's how you get them to visualize what needs to be done. And you know what? When they can see it, if they can see it and you help them see it, they're going to like you and relate to you, and they're going to get involved with you. But if they don't see it, you're swimming upstream. So it's very important you help people see it. Now, a lot of folks say, that residual income, that really messes me up. Okay. I don't get it. One level it's 2%, another level it's 5%, another level it's 9%. It goes down 9 levels. What the heck? You ever feel like that? I know new people feel like that. They look at that chart and they're like, what the heck? Okay. Let me simplify that for you. And I'll validate this on the next slide, but okay, anything that we're paid monthly, and I'm not saying royalties or residual, I like to call it repeat. Okay, what we get on repeat business, in other words, the subscriptions out there. Okay, what are we getting when the subscriptions go out? Well, it varies between 12 and 15%. Okay, and I'll show you that in a second, but I like to use 12% as a ballpark average for estimating income on our monthly repeat orders. Okay, and it doesn't matter if that's Pro 3, 4, 5, 6, it doesn't matter, okay, and above. Okay, but here's where we get to the nuts and bolts of this. You really want to have a plan, okay, for what you earn and what you can teach people how to earn. You got to be able to simply show somebody how to add their monthly earnings that come from their repeat business to their weekly paychecks. And now you got a business plan and you got a goal. Okay. So a Pro 3 is obviously someone doing 5,000 in business. Well, they're going to earn about $600, 12% of that 600, plus their monthly paychecks, their weekly paychecks. If someone's a Pro 5, well, that's 20,000 points or 20,000 in business. Okay. They're going to earn, I'm sorry, I have a typo there, $2,400. Okay. Not 1,200. Okay. 1,200 was for 10,000, 2,400 plus their weekly checks. And that 50,000 Pro 6, they're going to earn 6,000 plus their weekly checks. Now you're probably saying, Bobby, where did that 12% come from? I didn't see that, okay, on the chart. Well, here's where it comes from, okay? See, I like to keep it simple. It comes from this chart. And if you look, the average Pro 3 in our business, that's the first red arrow, is making a little over $600. The Pro 3, that's 5,000 in business, okay? That's where that number comes from. The Pro 5 is earning about $3,100. Okay. So that number's higher. I said 2,400, but it's 3,100. Okay. The average Pro 7, that's 100,000 points. Okay. Is making 13,000. Well, that's 13%. Okay. If you go back to the 6 where I use that example, I use 6,000 as an example, but it's closer to 7,000. So if you just keep that 12% number in your head and somebody hits you with, how do I pay my rent? How do I pay my mortgage? How do I cover my kids' tuition? If you know that number, you just got to turn it into a volume amount, which obviously is one of our ranks, and you can make a business plan for yourself or for your prospect or your new distributor, just like that. Okay. I call it a napkin presentation. You can just jot it out on a napkin. It's that simple. So in closing, okay, we need to talk in normal, everyday, regular terms when we are talking about money and earning it. It is so important. And you know, I'll tell you the same thing with the products. I know I'm not talking products tonight, but I am not a science person. I do not like the science. I am a benefits person. Okay. I talk benefits. I talk how I feel when I use it and the results I get when I use it. I just don't talk science. Well, it's the same thing with the compensation plan. You have to talk dollars and money, not percentages and charts. And here's another thing to keep in mind. Never speak in absolutes. Never give an absolute black and white answer, okay? Because there are variables. Always speak in general, but with accuracy, okay? You speak in general, but with accuracy. See, I spoke in general about 12%, but I showed you with the company's chart that that was accurate. So now the only thing you need to know is the 12%. And I went low. If you averaged, it was more like 13, 14% was the real number, but I always go low. There's no reason to exaggerate. And here's the thing that I want you to take away tonight. And you may not know this yet, but you already know how to do this. You have been doing this your whole life. You do not go and buy anything, and you do not go and sell anything without knowing what it cost. And I gave you about 10 examples just so you know, okay? If you were bringing your car into the car wash, don't you know if it's 8, 10, 12, 15, or 20 bucks? Don't you know what it is? See, we just have to look at it a little bit different, but you already know how to do this, okay? You just maybe hadn't seen it explained or shared this way. But I'm telling you, you can be great at it. You will be great at it if you just start practicing simplicity and being more natural and more real, and drop the trade language and the professional language in this industry. That's okay if I want to have a conversation with Tanya about it, okay? That's okay if we're talking amongst ourselves, but that is not okay when we are prospecting or dealing with brand new people. They don't understand it. We confuse them. They start analyzing, and the minute they start analyzing, they get paralyzed. And when people are paralyzed, they do nothing. So if you keep it simple, you'll get a lot of activity, okay? And you'll find it duplicatable, because the simpler it is, the more duplicatable it is. So Tanya, do you want to come back on? I'll stop sharing my screen.
That was so
Wow.
good. So good.
That's so good.
Does
that make sense to you guys?
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Anyone? Because it's so true. We hear this over and over again. The minute, if you guys heard the Bob Helig training that I posted today too, about just those 3 key phrases when you invite, like the minute you start talking to someone, they are questioning whether they can do what you do or not.
Yep.
So the simpler we keep it, the better. And Bob said this to me before we started too. He said, I'm sure you know before you go how much you're going to pay for your hair, how much we're going to pay for these necessary life things that we pay for. We always want to know how much does it cost. So why should we not completely have in our head that we would make $50 when we sell the Vitality Stack. I mean, that's huge. And I love how you transformed it into somebody's got a car problem. It costs $250. Well, if you sell 5 of these, you can pay for that. Like that, it's so good.
And it works in reverse, Tanya, because now you can evaluate or what you need to do to get something you want, but you can also evaluate, do I really want it and is it worth it? You get to evaluate it both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. No
Well,
question.
I hope it was helpful.
It was. It was so good. And I will make sure that I get that recording to you as well. Thank you so much for your time. Tell April hello and have a great evening. God bless you. Thank you.
And the best part is the accent was for free. I mean, where else do you get that, right? He doesn't even.
Hey, I've been in Florida 16 years and I still sound like a New Yorker. So
Beautiful.
have a great evening, everyone.
Love it. Thank
You're amazing.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.